Hey, everybody. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some not necessarily conservative issues. This is going to be more on the moderate side of the house. This is where I like to say that I do kind of play on both sides of the line when it comes to politics. We're also going to talk a little bit about the coronavirus. But before we get into that, don't forget to hit the like, hit the subscribe button, sign up for the alerts. And if you like the content that I put out, share it, please. My name is Andrew Alvarez, and I am the Latino conservative. Okay, so first thing, the question was posed to me, and I made a post on my Facebook page about hydrochloroquine. Everybody knows the taboo behind that. Facebook is banning that. YouTube is banning that. If you say it's a cure, you're gonna get banned. Freedom of speech. These people are infringing on our freedom of speech because, quite honestly, there's evidence that says that it is a cure. But either way, I'm not going to say dogmatically that it is or it isn't because I don't want to get flagged or banned or whatever you call it. But there are some studies that say it is helpful. And I posted something out there earlier how Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is the leader of the NIH, the National Institute of Health, has been since the 80s, since longer than a lot of people have been alive. Longer than a lot of people who are arguing for him have been alive. So back in 2005, there was an article published on the NIH website, and I'll show you a screenshot here. It's basically saying that chloroquine, which is a stronger version of hydrochloroquine, helps in prevention and treatment for SARS. Now, the coronavirus, COVID-19, is basically another version of SARS. So what he is saying is that back in 2005, he agrees that chloroquine could treat and prevent the coronavirus. It's not my words, it's his words. The question got put up there, well, since you're not a treating physician, well, first of all, I never once claimed to be a treating physician. Neither is Dr. Anthony Fauci. He is not a treating physician either. When's the last time he's actually seen a patient or treated patients? I've seen him take a couple pictures with a couple photo ops, but that's it. When is the last time he actually treated patients? Plural. Not just one for a picture, but plural. So this doctor is actually, in my opinion, holding information that could save thousands, millions of, well, actually, I don't think it's gotten quite to the millions yet. I think our official death toll is somewhere over 100,000, maybe 200,000 people in the United States. Worldwide, 600,000. But I believe he is withholding this information, and just because of a political concern, because he's trying to play the game. This guy's been at the head of the NIH since the 80s. So why is it that this data is going to change from 2005 to now, during the year of a presidential election? You want to talk about collusion? You want to talk about election manipulation? You want to talk about all of these terms? How about trying to withhold this data during an election year and potentially costing the lives of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people? What would I do? The question is, what would I do as someone who would be in charge to slow down what's going on? So in my opinion, just looking at the numbers, I think it's already slowing down. I've heard stories, and I can't verify this. I've been trying to find ways to verify this, but I've also heard stories about there's a plane. Waiting for the plane still. I can still hear it. So I don't have a way to verify this yet. I've been looking for a way, but I've heard talk about mutations that are happening with the virus, that it's mutating so quickly that it's almost as if it was man-made and not, or I should say man-altered, and not something that happens naturally. And it's losing its potency. I've never once You see, I've never once questioned the lethality of this, virus, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, but I have always questioned the data behind it. And the reason I'm saying this is because I have seen more than enough evidence of numbers being tampered with to believe the numbers. I don't think that there's nearly as many deaths involved that there really are. Now, I know of people that have died from coronavirus. I've got friends who've lost loved ones. I've lost friends from the coronavirus. But I don't think everything out there is coronavirus. What would I do to slow this down still? To be honest, I wouldn't change a thing right now, other than maybe encouraging more social distancing. These protests that are going on, yes, I totally, fully, 100% agree with your right and support your right to protest. However, I would suggest you not. You are social distancing when you're protesting. I'm not talking about all that violent fire stuff, Chaz zones. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real, legit, let me stand up for our rights protest. The ones, the peaceable of protests. Those, yes, I 100% approve and support your right to do that. But you don't social distance when you do that. I've also seen talk about voting. If you can go protest, stand next to each other protesting, you can go out and vote. But so what would I do to change this? Again, I really wouldn't do anything except maybe encourage a little more social distancing, encourage mask, not a mandate, encourage. I'm going to take a real quick look at what a lot of liberals would consider a great example of a country when it comes to how they've handled this virus, how they handle finances. Let's look at Sweden. A lot of socialists like to look at Sweden. So Sweden has a population of about 10.2 million people. They have 81,000. They've had 81,000 confirmed cases and 5,747, at least at the last Google search that I just did. So 5,747 deaths. Harris County. Let's bring it home. Harris County has about a population of 4.7 million people living in Harris County. That's Houston, Katy, around Houston area. You know what I'm talking about? So 4.7 million people, 78,000 cases, but only 1,318 confirmed deaths from COVID-19. I still think that number is off. Though our cases, looking at the ratio-wise, are way higher than what they are with Sweden, our death rate is way lower. They have 81,000 cases, confirmed cases, with over 5,000, almost 6,000 deaths, while ours is 78,000 with just over 1,000 deaths. But here's the thing. On that same post that I did, I also had someone confirm to me that the data is jacked up. This person went to go take a test. The line was hours long. Did not take the test. They didn't. Got a call back saying they were positive. Somebody else piggybacked on that, said that they had that same thing happen to them. I've had numerous articles shown to me. Florida, for example. Tests were sent to laboratories that weren't tested, but they came back positive. There are some laboratories out there reporting 100% positivity rate. How can that be? That's saying everybody who takes a test has COVID-19. So what do I think we need to do to slow this down? Just let it run its course. Don't trust the data that's out there right now because it is being manipulated. That's just my opinion. Let's talk about something a little bit more touching with us right now. Now, this is kind of not necessarily conservative, but one thing I think we can do to help fund our fight on this, because I do think we do need the treatment, whether that's hydrochloroquine or whatever's out there. I do think we need to have a good treatment for this because it's going to be around for a little bit. And the key to this is catching it within the first 5 to 6 days to be treated. How do we get those funds? Well, one, if there's not enough funds in the treasury right now, I don't know what we're doing with our money as a country. We need to be more sound and more responsible with our money as a country. We need to quit spending billions and billions of dollars on stupid stuff like an impeachment that was just a witch hunt. So, my conservative friends, I do apologize. But again, I'm all about equality and fairness. I'm going to look at 5 companies real quick. Amazon, Walmart, Google, Berkshire Hathaway. Who's heard of them before? That company is owned by Warren Buffett. And Apple. So let's talk about their money. Amazon brought in $232.9 billion last year. Walmart, $482 billion. Google, $160.74 billion. Berkshire Hathaway, $254 billion. And Apple, $265.6 billion in revenue. All of those are just the revenue. So what's going on with what they pay for taxes? I think one thing we can do as a nation is stop giving these guys loopholes. For example, Amazon, out of that $232 billion, they profited $10.1 billion. Where does that go? So Amazon, yes, they brought in $232.9 billion of revenue, but they profited $10.1 billion. So maybe not tax them on the full $232 billion, but what if we tax them on the $10.1 billion? Because they do have to operate. They do have to pay their employees. They had to do all of that. Walmart, they profited $14.7 billion. Get this, Berkshire Hathaway, which is a finance company owned by Warren Buffett, their profit was $81.4 billion last year. $81.4 billion. Apple, their profit was $55.25 billion last year. Now, back to the Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. His salary that he takes from them is $100,000 a year. You and I both know that dude is rolling in dough. He does not make $100,000 a year. He makes millions a year. He is claiming $100,000, so that's his tax bracket. He doesn't get taxed on the other whatever millions he makes. Now, do I think he should be taxed at a higher rate? No. I think everyone should be taxed at the same rate. Whether you make $20,000 a year or you make $20 million a year, you should be taxed the same percentage. I pay about a 10% tax. Every single one of my paychecks has about 10% taken out of it, whether I like it or not. So all of those companies combined have a total profit of $168.45 billion every year. And it's going up exponentially. Infrastructure. Let's talk about that real quick on this. If we were to tax that $168.45 billion, it'd be about $16.84 billion worth of tax revenue that we as a country can take in. So looking at that, I did a quick Google search. How much does it cost to make a freeway? So for a 6-lane highway in an urban area, in the city basically, it costs about $10 million per mile. That's not talking about the rural country, the rural areas, the 4-lane highways or 2-lane highways. This is middle of the city. 6 lanes. 6 lanes, $10 million per mile. With that, $16.89 billion in extra tax revenue, we can make a 6-lane highway going through rural and the suburban areas. About 1,680 miles worth of highway there. That's almost half the distance across the United States, and that's only 5 companies. Now, I know this may not be as conservative as most people would like to think, but this is also about fairness. Why is it that me and you have to pay this 10% worth of taxes, but these companies that profit billions of dollars a year, they find all of these loopholes? And they do not contribute to the country. They do not contribute to national security, to infrastructure, to health. They don't contribute to all of this except they take it away. They take away yours and my capability to be able to provide for our companies by not contributing themselves. The less they contribute, the more we have to contribute, and the more it takes away from us. So yes, while that may not be the most conservative Republican thing, that's something I feel wholeheartedly on because yes, fair is fair. Last topic. Former President Barack Obama. I'm sorry, I couldn't leave this without saying. What a disgrace I'm sorry. Yes, I voted for you. I'm kind of sorry I did now. And the reason I say that is because this guy, this former president, supposed to be the statesman, took the opportunity at a eulogy to condemn in-person voting. He totally wants to go in and say everybody needs to do mail-in voting. But his same party is also encouraging protests. And again, I support your right to protest. You cannot, however, say, go stand next to each other. Raise your voices. Protest for a cause. And then in the same breath, or a day later, or a day before, say, no, you cannot stand close together. You have to send in your mail-in ballots. That is so hypocritical. This guy is taking every opportunity to slam anything that President Trump has to say. What I wish he would do, I would have so much more respect for him, and I would have kept the respect that I have for him if he would have done what every other former president has done and just ride off into the sunset. Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Bill Clinton even. You see Bill Clinton out on the stage while his wife is out there. You don't see Bill Clinton out there pandering to whoever he needs to get his political cause out there. He doesn't. He's just chilling. By the way, he went to the same island Barack Obama did, but that's a whole different story that I'm not even going to get in there right now. My point is, if he's going to go in and take these opportunities to use an event, something like a eulogy, to try to progress a political agenda, he just needs to shut up. That is family time. That is supposed to be a reverent time. The whole Democratic Party should be ashamed of themselves for standing up and applauding a political item at a eulogy. Hey guys, again, smash that like and subscribe button. Sign up for alerts. My name is Andrew Alvarez, and I'm the Latino Conservative.